Okay. Let's wrap up. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy. Today we're going to be doing yet another wrap up. I know, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch up from not being able to film anything. So this is going to be my August wrap up. Part of that wrap up will be, or has been in my previous video, my Thriller-a-thon wrap up. So I read those books along with these books for the month of August. It is now currently September, a whole new month. And I don't even have my TBR ready. I don't know what I want to read this month. I really don't. I kind of want like somebody to just come in and just be like, here, read this, 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 and this. Which might be something to do. What are you reading in September? Let's figure it out. All right, but today we're gonna wrap things up for August. So first up we have The Body by Stephen King. I was actually not impressed with the book. I absolutely love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all times. Since I was a little girl, I used to sit in front of the TV and just watch it over and over again. I could like repeat all the lines. I loved it so much. Why? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that was the beginning of my whole thriller, mystery loving reading person. Does that even make any sense? Who cares? Anyway, The Body. So it was very much just like the movie. There, of course, were a few things that were in the book that wasn't in the movie, but I mean, not a lot. For the most part, everything in here was in the movie, and I just found the movie adaptation to be a lot more interesting. So basically, we're just following around a group of guys go and look for a dead body in the woods by a train track. And they heard about this body on the news, on the radio. Don't particularly remember how. No, one of the boys' brother, he heard it from his brother and his friend, and they were talking about it. So he went to tell his friends, and they went on a little journey to go look for the body. And that's pretty much what it is. Just a little camp out journey. It's like maybe a 2-day trip, you know, going there, spending the night, finding the body, coming back. They ran into a couple of mishaps along the way. One of my favorite things in the movie is when they go into this lake for like a dip to swim or whatever, cool off. I don't really remember why they went into this lake, but they come out full of leeches. I mean, that to me is horrifying. But that was like my favorite part of the movie. I mean, how horrific is that? But yeah, I just love that part of the movie. And the part where Gordy, which is basically our main character, he finds a leech in his underpants or his underwear. It's very graphic in the book. Of course, you don't get that in the movie, of course, but it is it's very well written, I guess, in the book. Very funny, actually. I actually laughed out loud when we got to that part. But other than that, I just found the book to be, you know, okay without having, like, I was playing the movie in my mind the entire time. So without having that visual, it wasn't as, like, great for me. So I don't know what it was about the movie that I just really preferred over the book. And I've actually heard the same thing for The Mist. I've never read The Mist, but I've seen The Mist, and I've actually loved The Mist. Really good movie, so highly recommend you check that out. But anyway, yeah, so I gave this 3 stars as far as the book goes. As far as the movie goes, 5 stars all the way. Next up, we have The High Tide Club by Mary Kay Andrews. This was this was cute. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Contemporary romance fiction novel, like woman's fiction kind of novel. It had a little bit of everything. It had a little bit of mystery. It had some romance. It had some history to it. I liked the fact how it went back and forth from past to present. So we follow along with, what is her name? I read this like so early at the beginning of the month. Brooke. We follow Brooke in this book, and she is a lawyer, and she is contacted by Miss Josephine Warwick, who is a heiress of this estate. She's pretty much like on her deathbed. I guess she's been diagnosed with cancer. and she just wants to get things resolved. Some things happened in the past that kind of broke up her friendships with some of her best friends, and then they formed a club when they were younger called the High Tide Club. And what it was they would go out to the beach when the beach was in high tide, and they would swim nude. So they go skinny dipping at the high tide, so they called themselves the High Tide Club. So something in their past and their friendship happened, and it kind of broke them apart. So she now wants to bring them all back together and kind of, I guess, apologize for whatever it is that had happened or that she did. And but of course, most of them have passed. So she contacts their relatives, either whether it be their daughter, their granddaughter, whoever may be living, that she can contact to help her, I guess, just clear her mind, get it off her shoulders, whatever it is. So all these ladies come together. They go live at Miss Josephine's mansion, which is pretty much a rundown mansion on an island. It's an island called Shellhaven. I knew it had a name. It's a crumbling pink mansion. But I really enjoyed how the book went back and forth from the past, from like the I want to say like 40s to present time. I really enjoy that sort of story. So yeah, as Josephine's telling her story and getting everybody together, some things sort of start to come out about Brooke's past as well. And friendships start to form. A romantic interest turn bad maybe, but then yet it involved like something better comes out of it, kind of thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. This was my first Mary Kay Andrews, I think. Is it? Yeah, I have another one. I have two more actually. So they're just like, just fun women's fiction, just like a lighthearted, just good read. But I found this one had a little bit of everything that I enjoyed. Next, we have The House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. I picked this up because I heard nothing but good things about it. Josh Malerman wrote Bird Box as well, of course, which I absolutely loved. So I figured this has got to be just as good. Very small little book, but it actually took me a little bit to get through it. Like, it kept getting you hyped up, and then sort of like let down. Like, it kept building you up to like get to whatever could be happening, and then it just kind of let you down. I don't know, that's just kind of how I felt. I did give it 4 stars because I did like the story. It kept me wanting to come back to figure out what was happening. So we follow Amelia and James in this little story, and James takes Amelia out on their first date together, out on his uncle's, or lakes by his uncle's place. He uses his uncle's boat or whatever, and while they're on their first date, they discover not only 2 lakes, but there's a 3rd lake. And they have to get through sort of like this tunnel, very tight tunnel type thing, and it kind of, so that he describes like how it pretty much scrapes the sides of the boat, canoe, whatever they're taking. And then when they finally get out into this area, into like the 3rd lake, they discover a rooftop showing up underneath the water. So they, of course, have to explore. I think Amelia goes down first to discover that the roof is attached to not only just a house, but a huge house as it is. And she goes in, and like things are like not as they should be at the bottom of a lake. Furniture should be like maybe floating around, or maybe things should be just kind of a mess and array, but things are in its place and where it's supposed to be. So she goes back up to James to tell him how fascinating this house is. So really it's just them two discovering this house, like every day that they possibly can. They just keep going back to the lake, to this house at the bottom of this lake. And I'm hearing things, apparently. So yeah, that's kind of where I found it, and it just kind of drug on for me. I mean, it was a very short little story, so it wasn't like it drug on that much, but But yeah, it was just going back and forth to this house until they finally, it finally starts to build and they discover something in there. And yeah, it just kind of takes off from there. Now the ending was a little weird. So weird. This actually was sort of like a weird kind of book. So yeah, when it got to the end, I just felt unsatisfied. I don't know what I was expecting or what I wanted in the end, but I just didn't feel like I got it in the end. But I mean, other than that, it was fun to read. It was a fun, like, little thriller type read, a mystery, trying to, you know, just going at the bottom of the lake with these two, figuring out, wondering what the heck you were going to discover on that day. So it was fun, a short little read. I threw in another comic book this month. This is Riverdale Volume 1, I believe. Yes, Volume 1. I got into the show like big time. I had wanted to watch it when it first started on CW, and I just never did. Like, I never DVR'd it or anything, nothing. And I just kind of like let it go. 3 seasons passed by and I never even watched it at all. I just got the urge to just sit down and watch it, and I absolutely loved it. I got like just so into it, like binged all 3 seasons. That's probably why I didn't get as much reading done this month as I did like the month before. But yeah, I loved it. So I thought I would pick up the comic book just to see how it follows the show. So I've only gotten through like I said, Volume 1. It is a little bit different, of course, than the show, but I just found it really fun. I enjoyed Scooby-Doo Apocalypse so much that I thought I'd give Riverdale a try. And in fact, I kind of like this over the Scooby Apocalypse, but maybe it's just because I'm really just into Riverdale right now, and I can't wait for the 4th season. So I'm definitely going to pick up Volume 2, Volume 3, however many they have. I think it's just 3 right now. But yeah, and I think they have some books as well. So I might get into those too. But I really enjoyed reading this. And I love the whole comic feel, just of all the pictures and reading like the bubbles, and I don't know, it's just so much fun. I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. I mean, it's Archie. Next up we have We Contain Multitudes by Sarah Henstra. Oh my goodness, I love this book so much. I didn't really know what to expect from this book when I bought it. I bought it mainly for its cover. Did y'all see that? It was a flicker. My lights might go out. I don't know. It's raining, but it's not like it's bad. Bella's kind of freaking out. It'll be okay. Anyway, back to this book. So good, y'all. So good. I mainly bought it for its cover because I just thought it was a beautiful cover. I figured it was a gay romance between these two, which I absolutely love a good queer romance book. And this one did not fail me. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I know I keep saying that, but I really did. So it's written in like letter format between Joe and Curl. Curl is actually his last name, and so it's actually like Jonathan Hopkirk is one of the little guy's names, and the other one is Andrew. Hold on. They call him Curl though. Andrew Kurlansky. Andrew calls Jonathan Joe, and Joe calls Andrew Curl. I'm guessing this is Joe and this is Curl. Joe is out and proud. He is a sophomore in high school. He wears these just crazy, Curl calls them just costumes because they're just so crazy. Bella, stop it. Oh my goodness. Crazy cat. She's like messing up my mojo here, and I love this book. I gotta get it right. She's like, I don't care. I don't care. It's almost feeding time. And I'm gonna badger you until you get up and feed me. So anyway, so Joe is, like I said, out and proud, and he wears like these elaborate outfits, I guess, to school every day, just to show his pride and how he feels, and he loves poetry. It's just, you know, he's just expressing himself, and that's great. He gets bullied for it, of course. Curl comes to his rescue a couple times. Curl is a senior. They're both in English class. They're not in the same class, but they have the same teacher, like different levels. So she wants her students, you know, older students and younger students to like get to know each other through like pen paling and things like that. So they have to write each other notes, and they have like these mailboxes that they put them in, and they have to at least write one a week. Well, Joe and Curl just become like just so involved in each other and infatuated with each other that they end up writing more than one letter a week. They even write on weekends. Really cute little love story, but Curl has sort of a hard life, I guess you could say. His father died, and his mother married his dad's brother, and the dad's brother is not a very nice guy. So just some trigger warnings here. There is, like I said, there's some bullying that gets really, really bad towards the end. And there's also child abuse, a lot of homophobia as well. So just to throw that out there, I got through it just concentrating on Joe and Curl's story between them two, and seeing how they got over these things through each other. But the last bit of the book was just, oh, like I cried like probably the entire ending. Oh my God, my cat's freaking out. But anyway, yes, such a good book. I can't say this enough, but I loved it. If it's very much like sort of like Aristotle and Dante discovered the universe, very much sort of like that, but on a different level. I love the letters to each other, and that's the entire book. There's no chapters, it's just letters to each other, as well as a little bit of autobiography, because Curl is, he's discovering himself. He doesn't know, you know, that he's gay. He's never even really thought about it. He's never even really dated a girl. So he just comes to discover himself through Joe and their letters, which I absolutely loved. So yeah, I don't know what else I could say about it. It's just so cute. There's a lot of hard times in here, a lot of hard reading to get through. I zoomed through it though, because I had to find out what was going to happen to these two, and I'm just gonna smile at this point. I enjoyed that book so much. I was just in the mood. Like I say, I think I'm in the mood for gay romances. I picked up Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Loved it. It was so cute. I gave We Contain Multitudes 5 stars. This one I gave 4 stars just because I was more invested in the characters than in the storyline. Like that was kind of like in the background for me. I wasn't really like into that part of the book, so I kind of like rushed through it. But the story between Simon and Baz I absolutely loved. So this very much gave me Harry Potter vibes. If you go to my Goodreads, I'll have it linked down below, read my review. This is very much like a Harry Potter fan fiction right here in this book. So we have, I said, Simon and Baz. This is Simon, this is Baz. And Simon is in his 7th year, and Baz is in his 8th year, which you don't have to go back after your 7th year. You choose to go back if you want to. I think your 8th year is pretty much your last year. They've roomed together all these years at the school. What's it called? I forget what it's called. Wartford is the name of the school, aka Hogwarts. You know, so Simon is our Harry Potter character, I would guess. He's the chosen one to defeat the Humdrum, which the Humdrums kind of gave me Dementor feels. Voldemort, as far as like Voldemort, I'm gonna say, like, there was a character in here they called the Mage. He was a cross between Dumbledore and Voldemort because he was like the headmaster, but I don't think he was called that. He was just head of the school, and but he was also sort of like a villain-like character So he kind of gave me a cross between Dumbledore and Voldemort. But the whole thing was to, like Simon's the chosen one to defeat these humdrums, which I don't really know what a humdrum is. They kind of like, they remind me of like Dementors because they kind of take on, no, that's not right. What is a humdrum? Well, the humdrum in this book looks just like Simon, and so he has to basically defeat himself. But there's, there's another storyline going as well. There's also, in the beginning, Say, Baz's mom, she died years ago when Baz was just a baby in a nursery. She was actually the head of the school at that time. She died protecting Baz from this vampire attack, which you will learn more about in the book, and which I thought was a fun little twist on Baz. And so Baz is like our, not to jump ahead of anything, but Baz is like our Malfoy of the story. He's sort of got this evilness to him, or like you're not supposed to like him, but I absolutely loved him, just like I did Malfoy. Loved Malfoy. Secretly loved Malfoy. But yeah, he's sort of our evil student, our bad guy. But he is secretly in love with Simon all these years that they've been boarding together or living together in the dorm while they're in school. And but he doesn't show it at all because Simon does have a girlfriend, Agatha. She is nowhere near our beloved Ginny. Agatha's just another character in the book for me. There is a Penelope, which reminded me very much of Hermione. There wasn't any Ron, although our chosen one seems to have red hair, but in the book it's described as like just a brownish color, like a brownish red. But yeah, there was no Ron in the story. I mean, there were other characters as well in the story that reminded me a lot of the Harry Potter series or Harry Potter characters. So it was just really fun to read. But as I was saying, Baz's mom came to Simon. There's a veil that lifts between worlds, between, the dead and the living worlds, that lifts every 20 years. And say Baz's mom came to Simon looking for Baz to tell him to find her killer or whatever. So that's mainly what our journey is about. Baz and Simon come together to Baz's enlightenment. They come together to form like this truce, and they're going to find who killed his mother. But along the way, things start to come to the surface and truths start to come out, and it was really cute. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, a very like Harry Potter fan fiction right here. And who doesn't like a good fan fiction where we put Harry and Malfoy together? Because that's basically what happened. So Simon starts to kind of grow, or Baz starts to grow on Simon, and one day they just kiss. And I think Simon is still trying to discover like what that means in this book. So I can't wait to get to Wayward Son, which is the next book. I don't know when it comes out. I think it comes out soon, maybe at the end of this year. I'm not sure. I should have looked that up before I talked about that, but I know it's coming out soon, Wayward Son. So I can't wait to read that, the continuation. I can't wait to see where Simon and Baz go with their relationship. But super, super cute book. I loved it. I also listened to The Wolf Hunter River by Rachel Kane. I listened to that on Audible. It was narrated by two different narrators, a man and a woman. The man to portray Sam, which is her love interest in this book, and then of course to portray Gwen, who is our main character. This is the third book in the Stillhouse Lake series by Rachel Kane. You can also go on Goodreads to read my review on this book. I'll put a picture of it right here. In my own opinion, now I gave the book 3 stars. I liked it. It was okay. It was a good story. It was a good mystery. I really like how Rachel Kane writes. So that was not a total bust, but I just feel like the story has ended in book 2. And I just felt like this was dragging it out a little bit more than it should. I don't know. That's just my opinion, But anyway, yeah, I don't want to give too much about this book in case you have not read the series. But in the first book, which is my absolute favorite one. Book 2 is good, but book 1 is where it's at. In the very beginning, she comes home, her and her 2 kids come home to police surrounding her house. There seems to be like a car that has wrecked into her garage, and she sees something, like, it looks to her like a mannequin hanging from the ceiling of the garage, but it's actually a dead body of a young girl. And that's when she discovers that her husband is a serial killer and has been doing these things under her nose. So she actually gets arrested for aiding and abetting. Everyone, you know, thinks that she was helping her husband do these things and that she was part of all these crimes that he committed. She is released from prison. All this happens in the very beginning. It happens really fast in the very beginning of Stillhouse Lake. And so she ends up going on the run with her kids. She changes her name. She changes her kids' names multiple times from what I can remember. I have a book talk on both the 2 books. I'll link it down below. So yeah, the first book is just her kind of running and trying to keep the kids safe from all the haters out there. She has so many people harassing her and her kids, threatening them. So she just has to keep everyone safe. And the first book is basically her on the run with her kids, just trying to keep them safe. She does meet Sam in the first book, and Sam kind of goes along with her through the rest of the books. But yeah, I just think the second book would have been enough. But that didn't mean I didn't enjoy the third book, where she's basically still running from all these haters and these threats and just trying to keep all her loved ones safe. So yeah, 3 stars. I liked it. Last but not least, I'll put a picture of it here. I read Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. This book, I didn't know what to think about this book. I gave it 4 stars in the end because it kept me reading. I wanted to know what else was going to happen and how revenge was going to happen. Let me tell you, I had so much, I don't want to use the word hate, but I had so much hate for this little child in this book. She was trying to kill her mother, and it was just horrible. It was horrible, the things that she would come up with, the things she would think. She loved her father. She hated her mother. So she was basically trying to get her mother out the way through the entire book. I got to a point where I was just like fed up with it. I was like, somebody needs to put this child in a corner. I don't know what needs to be done. She doesn't speak. She's 7 years old. So a lot of her, what do I want to call it? A lot of her scheming was very childish, but yet very manipulative. And finally, it finally got to a point. And then nothing's more frustrating when the father does not see it, because she's like a little angel when the father's around. So he doesn't see what the mother's seeing. I mean, they're like flipping each other off somewhere in the middle of the book. Like basically, like, her name's Hannah, is a little girl, and she like basically like sticks her tongue out at her mom, like, haha, dad's on my side or whatever. And then she's kind of just like flipping her off, like scratch. I had to laugh. I chuckled a couple times, you know, in the book. But I just really, throughout the whole thing, I just wanted revenge on this hateful child. I just wanted the mother to get her revenge, but you know, but that is her child. So, I mean, she loves her, but yet there's a part of her that wishes she wasn't there. So she tries to put her in school just to give her a break, because she doesn't do well in school. You know, she doesn't talk, she doesn't communicate, but she lashes out in school because she doesn't want to be there. So the mother ends up like giving up her career to stay home and homeschool the child, and then there's a child like trying to kill her every 5 minutes. And I was so frustrated throughout this whole book. I felt like giving up, but I was like, no, I have to find out what happens to this child or what happens to the mother. I had to find out. I'm not going to tell you anymore because I'll give it away if I do. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I think you should read it. I think it is a book that you should read. You're either going to hate it or you're gonna love it. I kind of loved it. I kind of loved it, I have to say. But that's all I'm gonna say about it. Okay, that is it, y'all. Those were my books for August. It was a fun reading month, and listening. I did listen to a couple of these books as well as read them, but overall I had a kind of a mixture this month. It was really fun. I had some comic books, some gay romance, some young adult gay romances, some contemporary fiction, some horror. It was fun. Some mystery, some thriller. It was a fun month. I really had a good time this month. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen in September. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. Like I said, I'm kind of in that gay romance mood. So you may see a lot of that in September. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but that will be coming up soon. So I hope y'all enjoyed my wrap up this month. I'll have everything that I read or listened to linked down below, as well as all my social medias. Come and check me out on Instagram. That's where I'm mostly at. It isn't necessarily a bookstagram. It's more my personal Instagram, but I do post a lot of book stuff as well as personal things. Thank y'all so much for watching. As always, happy reading, y'all, and I will see y'all in my next video.